Hello, crypto world! Welcome to the Chart Historian. My name is Justin, and on this channel, I delve deep into crypto charts, exploring chart structures, fractals, and patterns. In this video, I want to do an update on the XRP chart. I hope all of you in the US had a happy 4th of July. I celebrated it with my family. We did fireworks. We had a great time. However, in the midst of all that celebration, XRP and crypto in general was crumbling. So what are we to make of this? Well, for those of you who follow my channel, you know that I have been talking about 3 different possibilities. One of those possibilities, the third possibility to be precise, was that XRP was going to decline to a new low, at least for the third fractal. Well, lo and behold, that's exactly what is playing out. So in this video, I'd like to discuss what is potentially at play, what we could see possibly develop in the coming days, so you can be aware and prepared for what XRP may throw at you soon. Now, before we dive into all of that, I'd like to discuss what you're looking at on the chart. Now, for those of you who follow my channel, you are aware of the repetitive macro structure that XRP has. For those of you who are new, XRP has this repetitive structure. This is the foundation of which all my analysis hinges on. So in this repetitive structure, it has its bull runs. We see one here, we see one here. If we go further back in time, we'll see other bull runs. We see one here. After that bull run comes a decline. We see one here, we see one here, we see one here. If you go further back in time, you'll see the same sequence of events, a bull run and then a decline. After this decline, we go into a sideways range-bound time. We see one here, we see one over here, and we're working through one over here. And if we go further back in time, we'll see that after the decline comes a sideways range-bound time. These 3 functions, the bull run, the decline, and the sideways range-bound time, is the repetitive aspect of this chart. Now, here's an important thing to note. Every single time this structure repeats, it looks different. Why is that the case? Well, when a fractal repeats, the timing, height, and depth, those are always going to be original to the new structure. So the structure repeats. For instance, this bull run repeated here and here, but the timing of it was different, the height of it was different, and the depths of the pullbacks, all that stuff, it's always going to be unique. That allows this macro repetitive structure to produce iterations of previous structures that look unique. So this decline, for instance, it looks different from this decline, but structurally, these 2 declines are made up of the same structural parts, even though they look different one from another. We see over here in the sideways range-bound time, the first fractal, fractal 1, I divide this into 3 separate fractals, has this part A where price moves up and moves back down again, and then in part B, it goes flat. We see that same thing happen over here. Part A, price moved up and moved down, and then in part B, it went flat. Sometimes on this fractal 1, it arches down. In this fractal, it does that. That's one of the features of this first fractal. The second fractal, there's 3 waves, wave A, wave B, and wave C. We see it repeat once again over here, wave A, wave B, and wave C. It looks different. The timing's different. The height is different. The depth is different. It's all different. But what is common to both of these is what they do, the functions. So this type of technical analysis is a study of the functions that these fractals do. That's really important to understand that. In fractal 3, what it does is it moves up to a peak of the fractal, which is part A. It then crashes or declines and brings it to a low of the fractal, which is part B. After that low, price recovers, does a smaller correction, and then it goes into the bull run. Well, as this structure has played out, it has given me the opportunity to make different predictions, some of which have been wrong. So, for instance, when this moved up here, I thought, well, this is likely part A, which I still believe. And then when I compared this structure, this fractal 3 to this fractal 3, there was a lot of similarities. So we were completing what this was over here, and one of the possibilities was this massive move up and move back down. I was calling this the great fake out because it's exactly that, a fake out. Well, that didn't happen. As this structure has moved along, it came to this low. I thought, well, potentially this is part B, the low of the fractal. After that, it moved up, and that seems to fit to what this fractal does. Price recovers, does a smaller correction, and then it goes into the bull run. Well, that smaller correction never came. In fact, it has continued to tumble. It made a new low, so then I was like, well, this is looking more like part B. As this has continued to play out, I suspected that this may not be the low, and that's why I included it as one of my 3 possibilities that could be at play. Well, lo and behold, that new low has come. So the third possibility in my previous videos is now a reality. So that is the possibility, the only possibility that we are doing. Now, is this the bottom? Prepare yourselves, folks. I'm going to give you 2 different scenarios. So this could potentially be the bottom. If we look over here, see how it has this little bottoming out structure down here? We could potentially see something similar play out like that. Another way to look at it is if we zoomed in over here. So you have this first drop, it does a bounce to a new low, and then it does another bounce, but it doesn't go lower than this low. We could potentially see something like that play out here, where it does another bounce, a bottoming structure, and then it moves up. It could move up similar to this, but this would only be over here, the recovery before the smaller correction. So that is one possibility, one option. That is option 1, that we are currently at the bottom, and we will now begin to form a bottoming structure. After that bottoming out structure, price will move up. It will not be the bull run. It will just be a move up, a recovery of sorts. It will then go into a smaller correction, and after that smaller correction, it goes into the bull run. So that is option 1. Option 2, it seems like all I do these days is throw out options, but it's important because I don't have a crystal ball where I can see the future. I have to work within the realm of unknowns, and when you are working with unknowns, you have to be prepared for different possibilities. The other possibility is that this is not the low. This is option 2. Option 2 is this is not the low yet. We will potentially drop further in a similar way to what's happening over here. The cool thing about recent history is that it is sometimes an excellent guide as to what is going to play out on the chart. And the reason for that is a chart tends to repeat recent themes as it continues to evolve. So see how right here, price dropped drastically. We have that in this part of the chart. It then does a bounce. We have another bounce here. This is just playing out on a larger scale. And then finally, there's this smaller bounce that brings it to the true bottom. We could potentially see something like that play out. It could do a bounce and bring it to a new low. So in option 2, this is not the low yet. So it could do a bounce that will materialize, bringing it to the true low, or we could just continue to wick further down and then go into something like I showed you here. Or if we go further back to the previous third range fractal, do something like this before recovering, going into the smaller correction, and then finally into the bull run. So the big picture, folks, is that this fractal, fractal 3, is the termination fractal of the grueling sideways range-bound time that XRP always goes through. This Sideways range-bound time is really one of the defining things of XRP. It gives it the label of an S coin because it goes flat and just range-bound for so long, while other coins like Bitcoin is trending up, or Ethereum, and it just seems like a pathetic coin. But then at the end of the sideways range-bound time, as it always has done and as it will continue to do most likely, it shoots up in a glorious move up that defines the bull run. So folks, even if we have further downward movement to go, just know that at the end of this third range-bound fractal comes the bull run. Now, we're not done the fractal yet. As you can see, it's playing out quite a bit larger than these other two ones have so far, and that is to be expected. The timing, the height, and the depth is always going to be unique. So, folks, that is my update on the XRP chart. I hope you found this little update helpful. If you did, it'd be much appreciated if you hit that thumbs up button. You know, for those of you who would like to interact with me more, I have a Discord. It's actually connected to my Patreon page. I'll put that Patreon link in the description of this video. In there, I discuss what is going on much more than I do on YouTube or on Twitter. So if you want to interact with me more, and others are on that Discord, and they also post their ideas, their charts, they ask questions. So that is a $5 a month subscription. Again, that Patreon link will be in the description of this video. For those of you who are discouraged about the XRP chart, let me tell you this. XRP is doing exactly what it has always done. This is classic XRP. We're not done this structure. There's a little more pain to go through, but eventually we're going to get to the bull run. In the big picture, we're close to the bull run. It's just the part of, in fact, Fractal 3 is one of the most challenging fractals to go through. It's tough to navigate in the sense that every time it plays out, it looks completely different. And the movement of this fractal up and down can be extreme. This fractal shakes people out of the market. Understand that. But in the big picture, we are close to the bull run. It's the shakeout before the bull run. This is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, but if you did enjoy this video and you'd like to see more of this type of technical analysis, this is original, this is unique technical analysis. You're not going to find this anywhere else on YouTube, on Twitter, or online. This is something, a system that I have discovered, the repetitive nature of fractals. I am deep into the study of fractals and their functions. So if it's something that you find interesting, I recommend hitting that subscribe button. I'm so glad you caught this video. I hope you catch my next one. Have a great day, and bye for now.